Welcome back everyone. So if you watched my live stream last night, Friday night, you might have heard me say that I've been feeling a bit flat this week. I suppose that was a bit of an inevitability after Donald Trump was elected. We was all on a bit of a high, hoping that that would make a big difference to us here in the UK, and ultimately I think it will. But you know, now that sort of the dust has settled with Trump's election, we'll probably get another bounce when he's inaugurated in January. But I've been feeling a bit flat this week because, quite frankly, as I said, I'm getting a little bit tired of just making videos, moaning and groaning. And there are a lot of us now out there making videos, moaning and groaning, highlighting the issues that we face, talking about the issues that we face. But let's be honest, who's actually doing something? That's the bottom line. I've always been a man of action in the respect that whenever I've fought for something, whether that be a business, whether it be something in my personal life, I've actioned upon the things that I think need doing. If you don't action upon things that are wrong, then they never become right. You never resolve them. And to be honest with you, when I look at the amount of uproar that this government's caused, when I look at the amount of unrest, the amount of frustration and anger around the country, right around the country, from Land's End to John O'Groats, there's anger and frustration, the way our old age pensioners have been treated, just as an example. But where's the action? Where is actually anyone doing anything about it? I guess the bigger question is, what can we do? And that's one of the things that I want to ask you guys today, because look, I've said it before 1,000 times. Everything that I get involved in will remain legal and will remain respectful and peaceful. And I would always encourage everyone to do the same. But what can we do? What can we do to make these people stand up and take notice of what we're saying? Thankfully, we now have the pledge, which I'm hoping that thousands upon thousands of you are going to sign, and we can use that as leverage to political parties, maybe to candidates at the council elections in May next year. We can maybe say, if we've got enough people on the pledge, we can say, look, if you're not signed up to the pledge, we ain't going to vote for you. And especially in council elections, that will make one hell of a difference. One hell of a difference, because let's be honest, you know, people are elected to councils on relatively very few votes. So we could have a massive say at next year's council elections, but we've got to come up with things, we've got to come up with plans to peacefully and respectfully make these buggers listen to what we're trying to say. And talking to Nick Buckley last night, and by the way, I thought Nick was a great guest. I want to get him back on again soon. Nick Buckley was talking about a grand coalition. Now look, I don't want to nick any of Nick's ideas, but I think the idea of a grand coalition is brilliant. Sitting alongside the pledge, we need a coalition, we need a council of influential people. And I think in 2025, that is something that we should seriously consider, getting together a council of people that are respected, that have a voice, and that can push for certain things. And more importantly, start holding people accountable. All these MPs, they need to be held to account. Because right now, with such a majority, Labour can pretty much do whatever they want unopposed. And that's not good for the country. It's never good, really, to have a huge majority for any party, because that means they can just do whatever they like and whatever they feel. And it doesn't matter what the public voted for or what the public asked for or what the public expected. They get what they're given. And that's what happens when you have a huge majority. So we've got to come up with ideas. We've got to come up with ways to fight back peacefully and respectfully. And I'm not quite sure where we should start, to be fair, so maybe you can give me some ideas below in the comments. But like I said, whatever it is, it must remain utterly peaceful and utterly legal. So the options are fairly limited. But I think where I should start in 2025, I'm going to speak to Nick again. And I think where we should start in 2025 is by putting a grand coalition together, is by inviting more people to sign the pledge and to form some form of council where we can take on individual cases of unfairness, of tyranny, where people's free speech has been taken away from them. I think we should team up with the Free Speech Union. I'm going to be speaking to them as well. We need to become a powerful organisation. And the only way that we can do that is by getting the numbers. And again, it goes back to the pledge. We need people to sign the pledge, and we need people to encourage others to sign it as well. Because if we can take the numbers, then we start to get people's ears. Without that, I think we're stumped. So I think the pledge is pivotal and is key. The 20th, the 21st and the 22nd of December is our weekend of action. We are going to be inviting every single person that signed the pledge to try and get at least one other person to sign it over that weekend. If you can get 101, even better. But we need a membership that is larger than some of the mainstream political parties, and that won't be overly difficult. I think Reform have 100,000 members. Well, we can beat that quite easily. And when we've done that, and we can start putting a grand coalition together, then you might be surprised as to what we can achieve and how quickly we can achieve it. But we can only do that together. And then we can look at certain causes, we can look at certain cases that we feel needs to be taken on and needs to be held account. How good would that be? I think it would be marvellous. So it's up to you guys really watching this video right now to share this video, more importantly to share the pledge. That's what's really important right now. And when we look at what's going on up and down the country, really we are falling to pieces, aren't we? We're falling apart, literally. Never in my life have I known so many people that are just desperate to get out. Frankly, I'd like to go as well. But I've made my own pledge to you guys that I will stay and fight for everything that's good. That is, that's my mission. But how much can any one man, how much can any one group achieve without the numbers behind them? And I guess you guys out there that have already done your bit, signed the pledge, spread it, etc., you'll be just as frustrated as me. But Nick was right the other day, last night when we were speaking, when he said that it's time that every single one of us now stood up. If we don't stand up now, we are in big trouble. We are in big trouble. And everything that our forefathers fought and died for will have all been in vain. It would have been a waste of time. Because we are in the middle of what I believe to be the biggest threat to our nation, certainly in my lifetime and probably since the end of the Second World War. What makes it even more difficult is that those that are supposed to be looking after us, those that are supposed to be protecting us, seem to be on the other side, whatever other side that is. But free speech under attack by those that are supposed to protect free speech. The news, the media, wholly and utterly biased. The very people that are supposed to be influencing the mood of our nation appear to be against us. And this isn't some crazy conspiracy theory. This is factual. You know this is going on. You know it's taking place. And this is where we're at. So we've got to come up with a grand coalition of people. We've got to get that pledge signed, and we've got to start peacefully fighting back. Because if we don't, we're in big trouble, and we all know it. So now's the time, this Christmas, now is the time to sign the pledge, to get it shared far and wide, to start coming out, to start talking to your friends, your families and your neighbours, and to spread the word. More importantly, it's time we stood together.